Works. We are quickly becoming America's leading car buyer at GiveMeThen.com.
Let's effing go, as Big D would say.
Send you a check for
Snow Raider. Yeah. Where's my Kenny Clark? Did I miss him? Is he in here?
your house, your office.
Modelo. Thank you for reminding me, Modelo. I went out last night and I had a Corona.
Hey, what's
Part
up?
of the family. I had a Corona last night.
And I'll be broadcasting live from Silver Sevens every Friday through the big game weekend. I'll be giving away free prizes, and you can enjoy $3 beers and $3 shots. Silver Sevens, my spot. Silver Sevens Hotel and Casino on Flamingo.
I have Roy Jones Jr., the boxer, on today. It just came out of nowhere. His handler, who I know, called me and said Roy's in town. So I can't wait to interview Roy Jones Jr., one of my favorites.
It's the JT the Brick Show. You know, we're going to have a lot of positive energy. The guys that love to compete and play with passion are going to have a chance to place your silver and black to sound off over 25.
Man, I'm loving it, man. They're making my job tremendously easy. Be out here with these young, talented players, man. I think we have a really good team. So I'm super excited. I'm already loving this fan base. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
And now, here's JT the Brick.
Out of the gate, JT, along with Clay Baker, we're live from Raider Nation Radio in Las Vegas, Nevada, the sports and entertainment capital of the world. Flagship of an NFL team. Not many of those out there. We're one of them. And we cover football nationally. So if you're a football fan anywhere, we welcome you in. Any football fan anywhere who's watching us on YouTube, thank you, because we're going to give you football content heavy for the next couple of weeks. And then here in Vegas, at least, we're going to have one of the more interesting and entertaining off seasons that I can remember. And it might not all be great. I'm not saying it's all going to be perfect, but we're going to have a really energetic, exciting off season. And that's, when you have a bad season, when the Raiders had such a bad season, what's the reward for that? There were no rewards, no playoffs. You didn't feel good about the season. It was really a bad season. Well, the payoff is you get the number one pick overall, and you're going to get a coach, and that's going to be exciting. And then we hit the reset button again. And we get rolling from there. So this is Friday's show. I take pride in it. You know, if you've been listening to me for 30 minutes or 30 years, I take pride in the show. We never mail it in. But I was telling Clay today's kind of like a leftover show. You know, when you have Thanksgiving and you have food for days, you got food for days, leftovers. We got a lot of sound that came in last night on Mendoza. Roy Jones Jr., the legendary, pound for pound, arguably one of the top 5 boxers to ever live. He's going to join us. His handler called me today when I go back a long way. He said, Roy's in town. He'd like to come on. I said, sure. I'd love to talk to Roy Jones Jr. He's actually a football fan, so it'll be fun to just catch up with him for about 10 minutes. And then we're going to just dive in. I did a podcast last night with Hall of Famer Woodson, and I hope you could subscribe for it. And about 10 minutes of it was on Mendoza. And I want you to hear that. And Rod is not all in on Mendoza. And Rod Woodson's a legend. You all like Rod Woodson. He's not here to trash Mendoza at all. He coached the Raiders. He played for the Raiders, but, you know, he went to Purdue. He's from Fort Wayne, Indiana. He's not an Indiana fan at all. I mean, he really roots against Indiana, but he respects Fernando. But he told me a bunch of things about it. And I want you to hear that. So we'll probably get to that at some point next hour when I get around to it. But this week's all been about coaching. And Raiders looking for a coach. Cleveland's looking for a coach. Atlanta got their coach. I wake up today and find out that Phillip Rivers is interviewing to be the Buffalo Bills head coach. Could anyone have had a worse week than the Buffalo Bills? And that's the focus of my monologue. Brought to you by Golden Entertainment. PTs fuels the monologue. I'm telling you, I've been telling you all week, you need a place to watch the game. You got 6 or 7 buddies. You don't want to wait in line at a casino. You don't want to put your name on a chair and have to do that. Go to a PT's. They're all football. They'll be ready for you. Food, gaming, drink specials. You'll have a blast. PT's fuels the monologue. So what is Buffalo doing? Buffalo had a press conference with their owner and their president and GM. It was a train wreck, an absolute train wreck, where they talked about not being on the same page in drafting Keon Coleman. He's not going to want to play for them anymore. And other players around the league are looking around going, wait a second, I might have wanted to play for Buffalo. And the owner looks like he's nuts. Maybe I won't play for Buffalo. Then we found out today that they're doing their interviews in Miami because It's convenient for Josh Allen, who's in all the meetings. I'm not a fan of that with anybody. I don't mind Tom Brady and John Spytek in meetings, but they're not bringing in Max Crosby. They're not going to bring in a player. Now, will they reach out to the player before they make the hire? Absolutely. But Josh Allen's part of this process, Clay. I mean, was Joe Namath part of what the Jets were doing in the draft, or Terry Bradshaw? I know Ken Stabler wasn't going into Mr. Davis's office back in the day, giving him advice on the draft.
You mentioned Stabler there asking questions
Right.
for prospective candidates, and at the same time, I mean, what is Josh Allen wanting to find? Aren't you just trying to find guys that could be compatible with him? Wouldn't Josh already know that?
Yeah, all Josh wants is to I don't want to say make it easier because he's a workhorse. He is a great, great, great player. One of the best players in the league, if not right now over the last year and the next 2 or 3 years. The best player in all of football might be Josh Allen. Better than Stafford. Stafford's going to win the MVP this year, but he's younger. Better than Lamar. Better than Mahomes will be coming off an injury. And they fired their coach, Sean McDermott, and they had no plan. They had no plan. I believe that the Raiders and John Spytek and Tom Brady and Mark Davis probably realized they were going to fire Pete Carroll before the end of the year. That wasn't breaking news decision. Pete Carroll was going to go once the team started losing all those games, and they have a plan. And they are executing that plan, I think, pretty good because they're interviewing everybody. I mean, they've interviewed everybody. I'm not even going to go through the list. Anybody who's been available, the Raiders have interviewed. So that's okay. And now the Raiders have a little bit of an advantage, Clay, because they've already conducted initial interviews. That means they can have second interviews with some candidates that other teams aren't allowed to.
And at this point for the Bills, second interviews are going to have to come next week.
Right.
When the cycle has already been churning and half of the candidates have not only been hired, but they're already building staffs, making your amount of available great guys even lesser.
You just nailed it. Clay's great. He nailed it because let's just say the Raiders make a hire on Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't know what day they're going to hire. But whatever they do, if they make a hire quickly, because I think they're going to have to wait till after the Super Bowl for obvious reasons, if it's Kubiak. But if it's Davis Webb and he gets beat, and I think Denver loses to the Patriots, he could get hired on Monday. There could be a press conference on Tuesday. I mean, this thing can move pretty quickly here. And as I tweeted out, Jesse Minter is gone. He ended up going to Baltimore. I can tell you with all certainty, he was not the Raiders' first pick. That's it. I'm not going to give you more because I don't know who the first certain pick is. I have my opinion on it, but I know for a fact he wasn't the first pick. Like in the building stuff, he was not the first pick. Highly respected, definitely highly respected, and could have ended up being the coach of the Raiders by default, but Baltimore wanted him the whole time. He coached under John Harbaugh. He wanted him there, and that was a good fit for them. So that's good. It weakens the Chargers. It takes away the Chargers GM, Mike McDaniel, interviewing for the Buffalo job, right? So Mike McDaniel going to the Buffalo job for the head coach interview. That could take you a little bit, and that could keep him out of the Chargers. I got a lot to say on Mike McDaniel. I just can't say it until something becomes official. So that's all I'm going to say on that, too. I'm not hinting and leaving breadcrumbs here, but there's certain things I know, certain things I don't know. And for Mike McDaniel and the interest, if there is some interest in Vegas or not, we'll see what happens here. I don't think he's going to be the head coach of the Raiders, but let's see if it becomes official. And we're just keeping an eye on all the sound out here on what's happening with the coaching carousel, which has been probably, I would say, the worst carousel that we've ever experienced. This is it. This is it. This has been the worst coaching carousel of my career, of your life. 10 coaches, some who should not have been fired under any circumstance and were fired on winning teams. That's where we're at now in the NFL. You be there for 1 or 2 years if you haven't won. So you're a brand new coach. I hope the Raiders, when they get a brand new coach, young guy, I hope they give that coach 3 to 5 years, right, before the heat comes down. Do you know why guys lose their jobs early? Because they don't win. So the guy, whoever gets the Raider job's got to win. I'm not saying he's got to win 9, 10 games year one, but he can't win 1 or 2. Then we didn't need to make that hire. We could have made that hire next year. But the process of the next Raider coach will be someone who can build this. Build, as I told you all week, a compelling and entertaining offense. Of course, a football team coming together. I'm sure the coach is going to sit there with a silver tie on and a black lapel and sit there and tell you that the locker room is the most important thing and the chemistry is everything. Absolutely. Amen, coach. What are you going to do? What are you going to do differently than Pete Carroll and Antonio Pierce. Those two guys were rah-rah guys. They were pretty good in regards to getting people out there in the morning for practice, stretching, diving on them, high fives, dapping them up. You can't get two better guys than Antonio Pierce and Pete Carroll out in Henderson on the practice fields there. I don't care what happens now. I don't care if anybody gets a fist bump. Don't care if anybody hugs anybody. I want to see a complete change as I did the monologue yesterday. Oh, and quick reminder, every show's monologue is up on YouTube. Not the whole 2 hours. You'll just see the monologue. If you missed that and want to catch it at night or in the morning. And I think that's a better compelling podcast than a whole radio show. So for the coach, I just want the coach to be a wizard when it comes to building plays. Building faster, better, stronger plays. Right, that's it. Like building the $6 million man, $6 billion, $6 billion man, right? It was a billion or million back then.
It was million. We have the technology.
So it was only $6 million for Lee Majors. You're right.
And it was only the $64,000 question too.
Right, which they give that away on reality game shows
inflation.
now. It's inflation. So whoever this mad wizard's going to be in the lab for the offense, I'm excited about that. I really am. If I get an opportunity to interview the coach when he gets hired, that's the one question I want to ask. What type of offense do you like? What do you want to do? Not what are you going to do with Bowers and Genty? None of that. We're not going to ask someone to give us the secrets of the offseason, but what do you want to see? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? You want to play faster? You want to do a little no huddle? You want to be under center? Do you want to move the pocket? Do you want to go 13 personnel? What do you like? And we'll have a pretty good idea when they announce that, coach. And hopefully it'll be here early next week. If not, it's clear that they're waiting for someone on the winning staff. And there's a couple of good ones that are out there, right? Mike LaFleur and Clint Kubiak could be two coaches coaching into the Super Bowl. Remember, we have a Super Bowl bye week. There's a Super Bowl bye week. We don't go right to the Super Bowl. We get a bye week before that. So there's a lot going on. This could be a long wait for the Raiders. And we all know what the risk reward is, right? We all know what the risk reward is, that if the Raiders wait too long for a candidate and the candidate changes his mind. If he just says, no, I was thinking about this with my wife. I've been looking at this. But then the Raiders shouldn't have that candidate that high up. The Raiders should know pretty quickly here from Tom Brady and John Spytek who their guy is, have a very good understanding that that guy's not going to leave the Raiders at the altar, not going to leave them there and just say, no, I changed my mind. That's what we have to see here. We have to make sure that that's a really responsible pick and someone who wants to be a Raider. I find it comical. I used to get mad. I don't get mad as much anymore. I find comical when you turn on these talking head shows, and some of them have like these Real Housewives on it who are hosting, and they're like, well, the Raider job might not be great. Oh, shut up. Oh, shut up. The Raider job might not be great. The Raider job's amazing. You're the head coach of the Raiders. I got the logo behind me. Being the head coach of this team is damn cool. Everybody wants to do it. Everybody would love to be the head coach of the Raiders, unless they have a better job. And there are a few better jobs. If you grew up and you wanted to be the head coach of the Bears, all right, I get it. You want to be the monsters of the Midway. You love the Bears. But most people respect the Raiders and the deep history of the silver and black and want to coach it. Now, Cleveland, they don't. I mean, Clay, you're seeing guys turn down Cleveland like, no, I'm not going to take the second interview. I'm good to go be a coordinator. That's kind of bizarre.
Yeah, it's kind of scary, especially for a team that's in turmoil, looking for direction, that people are not even taking that job seriously. Or maybe those first interviews are so bad that it's scaring people off.
Yes. And that's what could be happening in Buffalo. I still think the Buffalo job's really cool because you get a good team. They're guaranteed to go to the playoffs. Guaranteed. Bills are going to be a playoff team. Even when they had this down year, they were in the wild card. And they should have been able to get to the Super Bowl even without home field advantage. Next year, they're going to have a new stadium. Wait when the schedule comes out. You're going to see the Bills in that new stadium on Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football. It's going to be all over the place. Kind of like when Allegiant opened up, everybody's going to want to see it. And who will be the head coach? I do not know. I think Joe Brady, their offensive coordinator, probably knows. And Brian Daboll, is the one that, as I'm looking around here, and I know people are telling me, who they like for these positions. I mean, it doesn't matter who you like. Who is the best fit? Who is the best fit for these jobs? And, the Buffalo Bills, 27 minutes ago, Adam Schefter, more about the Buffalo Bills interviewing Phillip Rivers today for their head coaching job. Oh, boy. I mean, that is stupid. That is stupid because he isn't Davis Webb. He's not a guy who's been in a building who's been doing this. He's been coaching high school and been hanging out with his 9 or 10 kids. 9 or 10 kids. I also found out Robert Saleh has 9 kids. I got 2, and it's pretty. I got 2. I have my hands full. 9? How do you coach an NFL team with 9 kids? Yeah, Clay, wouldn't you think that'd be like you get up in the morning early before your kids get up and you make a cup of coffee and you're in the kitchen? One of your 9 kids are going to be up or not sleeping through the night or something. And then you leave your wife, who I'm sure has help. There's definitely a live-in nanny or something. And then you leave and you don't come home till 9 at night, and then the 9 kids are waiting for you at the door.
Yeah, and it's like you never have any time for yourself, but then at the same time, how do you make time for everyone down the road unless you're trying to build your own football team? That's the only way I can think of. Like, that's a lot of responsibilities.
What happens when we're going to have beers with the guys and your wife's like, we got 9 kids. Like, I have 2 kids. I said to my wife, I'm going to have beers with the guys. Okay. Well, 1 kid's out of town, 1 kid's here. But imagine having 9 and saying that.
Imagine telling your wife, like, I need a little alone time. You imagine what she's going to say? Oh, you want alone time. We're going to change the locks on the doors so you can have more alone time.
I will tell you this, that job in Nashville is really cool. I've only been to Nashville a handful of times, 3 or 4 times. Last time the Raiders played there, we went out in Nashville. They call it Nash Vegas. Man, that was fun. That first time I ever been to a bar in my life, and now they're doing it here at Old Red and Jason Aldean's. The first time I've ever been to a bar where I walked in on the ground floor, there was a band. Then I took the stairs up to the second floor, there was a band. Then I went to the roof, and there was a band. I'm like, who the hell's paying me? 3 bands. I got like 8 people in each band. So Nashville fun, and hopefully that's on the Raiders schedule sooner than later. Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention, Robert Kraft made a statement. He was on a podcast, and he talked about the league now going to 2 preseason games instead of 3, adding an 18th game, and every team has to play an international game. Love it. The only thing I don't love is I get a chance to call games in the preseason. I get paid in the preseason. I like the extra preseason game. I think you need 3 preseason games. You do, because you're putting a team together. You got to have games to evaluate the talent, but 2 is probably where we're going. And then we'll have 18 regular season games. There'll be 2 bye weeks. So there'll be an early bye week around week 6 or 7, and then a late bye week. And then they'll stretch the thing out here. They'll move the Super Bowl even farther back. And I think everybody will be good. I'm a real big believer in these international games. I am. I love the international games. I think it's great for you to look on your schedule and say, hey, I can go somewhere with my family. If you can afford it, a lot of people can't. I understand that. But if you can and have an opportunity to get on a plane and go see your team play in another country, I am all for that. I love it. Now, you don't want to lose a home game. You'd want to be the road team so you don't lose a home game, because Allegiant Stadium is just sprinkling cash all over Vegas now. The Korean boy band, 4 nights, BTS, not 1, not 2, 3, 4, sold out. Everything sold out. Talking to my buddies about that ticket, incredible. So that's a mini monologue today. You can watch the show. Roy Jones Jr. coming up here at the bottom of the hour. I'd like to get your prediction on what you're thinking about this game. These games coming up, the AFC and NFC Championship games. I'm leaning towards the Patriots. I don't like the Patriots. I'm not a Patriot fan, but we want to keep Denver out of this thing. Denver's in our division, Raider Nation. We want Denver out. We want Denver out. Or you could look at it this way. Denver could win the AFC Championship game, which is a nice trophy and a nice accomplishment. And then they go to the Super Bowl and they get smoked. They get smoked by like 40. And then we're really happy about that. And Denver gets blown out in the Super Bowl if that goes down. But I think the Super Bowl is about Seattle. I think Seattle's the best team, but the Rams are right behind them. If you look at the scores and the stats when these 2 teams play, it is good. You got the 2 best receivers in football, right? When you look at Njigba and what he can do and how great he is, and then you look at Puka Nacua, oh my God. You got 2 guys with identical statistics going up against it in that bracket. I mean, I'm looking at the stats here for what's going to go on with this game and how these guys are going to play each other. Good luck being a cornerback. Good luck being a safety on this team. Good luck trying to guard some of these players here and think you're going to be able to do it, because they are just efficient. They're incredible. They know how to make plays. They make big plays all over the field. Smith and Jigba just gets open deep, really deep, and then Puka can get open deep and go over the middle like a warrior. And Matthew Stafford, it's a regular season award. He'll be the MVP. I think that's going to be that both teams are going to try to stop the run early because they both want to run it to set up the pass. I just think it's going to be fantastic to see. So that's where we're at here. I'd like your prediction on the game, on how you're going to gamble the game. We got gamblers here. Are you doing a two-teamer? Are you betting the games? I need to know a bet. Tell our listeners and help our friends out. They need your help. How are you gambling this game? What are the ways you can call in? 702-365-9200. How are you betting the championship game weekend? It is, let me get you the spread here. New England, -4.5 on the road, total 42.5. And Rams Seahawks at Seattle, -2.5. Wow. You get 3 for being at home, or 2.5, and it is 2.5. That's a dead even game. Total on that is 46.5. Who are you betting? Who do you like? How you going to knock this out? Let us know. 702-365-9200. And do you have a pick right now for the head coach? I've been asking you all week. It's been quiet on the show. I'm not a game show host. I'm not like behind door number 1, 2, 3. I like to have more of a complex phone call with fans who can really dive into the weeds here. But I'd like to find out because we need to know who you think the coach should be. And I respect your opinion. And you're paying for tickets if you're a season ticket holder. You buy the gear. This is an important hire. I'm counting on some Raider fans today on a Friday. A Modelo Friday. Modelo Friday. I have a bucket of Modelos waiting for me after the show. Had a cocktail or two last night, Claire. I went to see our partners over at Virgin Hotels, Las Vegas. Went and saw the great J.O.D.
Nice.
Had one steak for light food. And
really light food?
Light food.
That's the epicenter of the AVN
yes,
and award show.
I noticed when I was sitting at the bar having a seafood salad, which is one of the best I've ever had, shrimp, just fantastic. I noticed it was more crowded than I've ever seen it over at Virgin's, like almost ever.
Oh, yeah. I can't imagine why.
Yes, and there were a lot of unique people walking around the property.
It's like their Super Bowl.
Yes.
Like for almost 40 years, the AVN has had its year-end Oscar show
yes.
Over in Las Vegas, and Virgin has been a perfect spot for that because it's the business of pleasure that's going on in Las Vegas. And it's not just the award show, it's a complete lifestyle that goes on for a full week. So I'm glad you were right there in the thick of it, getting the pulse of
when I did lift my head up from talking to and having the conversation, I did notice that was a very good crowd over at Virgin Hotels as they are. I guess it's a 3-day convention, the AVNs. I wouldn't know, but it's a 3-day convention for the Adult Video Awards, I guess. 3 days.
Yeah, and after 3 days, you get covered with glitter, and you're going to be glowing in the dark afterwards.
Wow.
So it's going to be
wow. No wonder when I got my Uber late at night, it took a little bit longer to get on. I just get on the Uber line there. Very interesting what happens here in Vegas, man. Just incredible. So that's it. We're supposed to have Roy Jones Jr. He's going to join us here in a few minutes. Great legendary boxer, one of my favorites. I saw a lot of his fights. I was very fortunate to see him box live a number of times. We'll talk to him about the sport of boxing, all these YouTubers who are fighting now. What does he think about all that? And then we'll get into your phone calls. We got a lot of Mendoza sound. So Mendoza was on the CBS morning show with Gayle King. He did like 7 minutes. Couldn't believe it. Someone told me it was coming up. I watched it. He was on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and all Jimmy Fallon does is giggle. I can't watch that show. I used to be huge on late night television. David Letterman, watched it all. I can't even watch it anymore. I cannot. Jimmy Fallon cannot speak, and he's on television without giggling and stuttering every word he says. I've never seen anything like that. Very successful guy. He's not doing an AM radio show that's streamed on YouTube. Very successful guy. I don't know how he's on television. He can't put a sentence together. Mendoza was fabulous. He did this thing with records. Jimmy Fallon was throwing record albums in the air, and Mendoza was throwing footballs at it. So that was cool. And you're going to hear, Dan Patrick thinks the Raiders should trade the pick. Ooh. And you're going to hear Rod Woodson on the new podcast, which is up, laying the wood, and what Rod has to say on all that. As we open up the show, thanks for listening, being here for us all. We like what we do here every week. We get a chance to talk sports on the radio. And we'd like to hear from you. Your opinions matter to me. They do. I know you know that. Just all I ask you is put your phone call together, know what you want to talk about. And as always, sound off like you got a pair. Here we go.
It's the morning tailgate.
You know, a lot of people have been sitting there saying, hey, you know, if they could change the fortunes of Indiana football, doesn't that feel like a taller task than just changing the fortunes of a tradition-rich Super Bowl champion winning franchise?
All right. Yeah, we got the podcast up here. My son just dropped in the podcast, Lay in the Wood. So everybody who's in here, we got 350 people in here. That means I should get 350 subscriptions. So everybody just click on for free. The link is right there. Click on the link to Lay in the Wood with Rod Woodson. We preview both the games this week, and we think you'll like it. Subscribe to this podcast and subscribe to Lay in the Wood, and it's both free. Thank you.
Don't let the game get out of hand. Please bet responsibly. JT for Finley Volvo, Las Vegas. If you're looking at a Lexus or Mercedes-Benz SUV, you need to consider the Swedish design Volvo. They have Thor's hammer lights, which are amazing to see. Minimalist
Roy
interiors,
Jones
unique
Jr.
textures. I just love the elements of these unbelievable safe vehicles. You need to go see Mike and take a look at the Swedish design Volvo right there at 215 and Rainbow, right across from the UFC headquarters. You can't miss it. Finley Volvo, Las Vegas. Raider Nation, it's JT. I partnered with Charles Woodson and his Woodson Whiskey. It's the official bourbon whiskey of the Black Hole and the Las Vegas Raiders. If it wasn't your game day whiskey, it is now. Raise a bottle at your next tailgate and toast to the silver and black. The limited edition Black Hole bottles now available at woodsonwhiskey.com. Use the promo code JTTheBrick at checkout for 15% off. That's woodsonwhiskey.com, the official whiskey of Raider Nation. Please celebrate responsibly.
We're here with Chuck, founder of Dollar Loan Center. It looks like you have locations all over Southern Nevada.
Yes, sir. Over 25 area locations. You never have to travel far in Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, Henderson, Pahrump, Mesquite, or Laughlin to find a DLC. But the best part is saving the drive altogether and applying from the comfort of your couch at don'tbebroke.com.
I kind of like stopping by.
Good call. And it's really...
Yeah, I just think we'll look out for his call. He might call anytime in the next couple of minutes.
Years. And our customers just...
What's going on, Chad? Yeah, I'm working here. I got to get ready for this Roy Jones Jr. interview if he calls in, which I think he will because I just got a text.
Years ago, sealants, stuff.
Davis Webb, Cliff Kingsbury, OC, Jim Leonard, DC.
To meet our real.
Oh, yeah. Cool. There's a cool breeze, Clay, that just came into our chat. A little cool breeze just came in here. Yeah, hey, there he goes.
Check out Macy's this weekend for new active sets to keep up with your New Year's goals. There are so many great pieces in the store, and the deals are incredible. Like head-to-toe men's and women's looks from Adidas, Champion, and more, all for $50 and under. So head into the store and walk out with great deals.
All right, Roy
on
Jones
new active
Jr.
and so much more starting tomorrow at Macy's. Savings off select prices. Exclusions apply.
Yeah, a little cool breeze is in there. WoodsonWhiskey.com.
Hotels Las Vegas, proud partner of Raider Nation Radio, and it's time to become a Cherry Rewards member because you'll get all the perks from the best hotel rates just for you. You'll earn on gaming, stays, spa days, and so much more. And you know we love the restaurants, from Nobu to One Steakhouse to Cassie Beach House. It's all right there in the best theater in all of Vegas. Virgin Hotels Las Vegas, where valet and self-parking are always free.
Nothing I hate in the car business more than a bunch of damn liars. That's why I created GiveMeTheVin.com. Go to Give Me the VIN, put in your license plate number, we'll buy your car. We do what we say we're going to do when we say we're going to do it without a bunch of games. We come to you with a check or payoff for payoff. And if I don't beat your CarMax on it, I'll send you a check for $100. Check out my reviews online. GiveMeTheVin.com.
Sell our shirts. So easy you can do it at your
The exciting action of the NFL postseason is on Westwood One.
touchdown! Touchdown! If you hadn't seen it, you would not believe it.
This is Scott Graham. Join us Sunday for complete coverage of the Conference Championship Games. Our broadcast kicks off at 8 p.m. Eastern Time and goes until the Super Bowl matchup is set. If it's the NFL playoffs, it's on Westwood One. Listen to both games on Raider Nation Radio, 920 a.m.
We'll go right to you here. Stand by.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by M Resort Spa and Casino, the official hotel of the Las Vegas Raiders.
JT, back with you as we get rolling here today on Friday, brought to you by Modelo. Joining me is one of the greatest fighters of all time, pound for pound in multiple weight classes. What a pleasure it was to watch him fight and to have the chance to talk to him today. Roy Jones Jr. joins us. Roy, great to talk to you. What brings you to fabulous Las Vegas? What's going on?
Hey, what's up, JT? Thank you for talking to me today, man. Thank you for having me. I come to Las Vegas for a meeting, doing a meeting about possibly promoting some fights out here, probably for some different reasons. So, yeah, a lot of things going on, a lot of good things. Mainly the fight would be to fight against sex trafficking with kids. So that's what I'm at.
That is amazing. I didn't know that. I want to get to that, and then we'll go through your fabulous career when it comes to sex trafficking and what's happening from Florida to Las Vegas, Nevada to Los Angeles. We've seen some movies now talk about this, are educating us more. What have you learned as you've been on this journey to try to save these young girls and try to help with your background and your celebrityness and your athletic ability? What can you do to tell us how you've made a difference in that world?
Got to do is try to bring awareness to the fact. And there's a lot of people that we do things, but we don't do things with a cause in it, with a cause behind it. To have something going on with a cause makes people pay more attention and makes people want to get more involved. You feel me? So having that cause to give these guys a chance to fight for a cause to help save these girls' lives is something different. I seen a thing yesterday or day before yesterday. They had a thing in Dallas. They took down 200 and something odd people running a ring doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's crazy. How can you have 200 and something people running a ring sex trafficking kids? Are you kidding me? In today's time? I mean, wow.
Yeah.
It was in Dallas that they did it. Blew my mind.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that with us. I want to go back to your career. And when do you believe you were at your absolute best? Because you fought in all different divisions. You took anyone on. If you lost a fight, it wasn't like you sulked about it. You got back in the ring. You're one of the greatest trainers in regards to workout routines I've ever studied in the history of boxing. When do you believe you were absolutely at the best of your career where you could beat anyone and you were the baddest man on the planet?
From 1993 to 2000.
So you're talking about 7-8 years where you were just at the top of your game, taking on anyone and not ducking anyone, by the way, too, Roy, taking on anybody that wanted to step in the ring with you.
Matter of fact, 1993 to 2003.
There you go. Wow. Yeah.
93 to 2003. I fought Hopkins, I think, in 93. Yep.
Yeah.
Started. From that night forward, I was not to be touched until I came down from here.
What was it like fighting Bernard Hopkins, who had a really unique background with the prison background and the people that he was with and how he rectified his life and then started making money and still had a level of intensity to him? What was it like talking to him leading up to the fight, to promotion? Because I remember that back in the day when you two guys were leading up to that. What was that relationship like right before the fight?
Kind of fun for me because I basically beat him before we ever got to the fight. He didn't know it, but I had to beat before we ever got to the fight, so it was kind of fun to me. And I had other issues going on. I had a bad right hand, but I couldn't let him know that, so I had to talk him out of the fight before we ever got to the ring because I knew I was going to have to fight in one hand, and that's exactly what I did.
Roy Jones Jr. is our guest. Roy, as I look at your track record, a lot of baseball pitchers, when they throw a no-hitter, they're in the zone. Quarterbacks, when they throw for 400 yards, they're just in the zone. What's it like to be in the zone, in the ring, in a fight against a great opponent where you just know it's a dangerous fight, you're fighting a worthy opponent, but you're so locked in, you know you're going to win?
Once you get in there and you do things that people can't do, this is what people don't understand about Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. did things in the ring that people would dare to do even on a heavy bag. You understand me? Roy Jones Jr. get in the zone, he'll do anything. He'll put his hand behind that. Whatever God gives him an inclination to do, he'll do it because he knows he's in that zone. So you see me put my hand behind my back and knock the guy out, or you see me cock my shotgun like I'm getting ready to shoot a gun, you know I'm in the zone. Anytime you see me showboating, I'm in the zone. I ain't showboating against Bomb. I'm showboating against your fighter's favorite fighter. You hear me?
Yeah.
I ain't just doing it against anybody.
No, you did it against everybody, pound for pound. That's what I love. As we wrap this up, can you share with our audience the training that you were going through? Jerry Rice ran hills. Mike Tyson trained a different way. In your prime, when you were training, what blew everyone away from your trainers, your agents, your handlers, and the opponent that knew that they could not train like you?
The secret that they didn't know was every day I ran, I trained, and I played basketball. I got 3 cardio workouts in daily. Sometimes I played basketball twice, and sometimes I got 4 in. How you gonna beat a man getting 3 to 4 cardio workouts in daily, and also understand every aspect of the sport of boxing? My daddy built a beautiful foundation in me. I can do anything I want to do when I'm in that ring because of my foundation. If I'm in shape to do that, trouble for the world, and that's what I was 10 years.
23 years ago, you beat John Ruiz for the WBA heavyweight title at the Thomas and Mack in Vegas. You'll probably drive by that building today. I was there for that in 2003. What the heavyweight portion of your life there at the end, as we wrap this up, where you could have stayed super heavyweight, you could have stayed at a different weight class. What was the lure for you for the heavyweight title, and why was that so important?
Well, I had a dream, and in that dream, I dreamed I became the heavyweight champ of the world. So to me, that was God telling me, hey, Roy, if you want to go make history, you got to go challenge yourself. Because I know Hopkins had made history having the most victories, defenses from a middleweight champion. People are making history around me, and God knows me. I'm a competitor. So if somebody makes history, then it's my turn. How am I going to make history? So he said, the only way you're going to make history, Roy, is you got to go win the heavyweight title. Because nobody did that in over 106 years. So that's what compelled me to go challenge for the heavyweight title. But what people don't know is that I went to Georgia and asked them to Holyfield to fight me first, and he said no. Then he lost to John Reed, and John Reed said, I'll fight Roy. I said, no, he won't. Oh, my God. There it is.
Hey, last one. Do you respect these YouTube fighters, these celebrity boxers who are, fighting other boxers that came up the way you did? This is where money's being made now on Netflix and these pay-per-views. Do you respect the guys going in there, or say, no, that's not my thing?
I respect them because they're doing a lot of good things. What they're doing is they're showing you that it's like right now, because of what's going on and because of this child trafficking situation, Jake Paul's point of view has shown me that, you know what, Roy, if you decide to get in shape and go do things or put yourself back in a situation where you can go out and fight for a cause, there's still money to be made and you can help the cause. You understand me? Because look what they're doing. And they're not even real fighters. You still can fight, you still can entertain, and it don't have to be real fight. They're doing what they call exhibitions. So why would you not do that and help raise money to help save these kids? It'd be crazy not to.
Wow, I never heard it that way. Great. Hey, Roy, have fun with Billy. Have some Banana Mezcal. I hope to see you soon. You brought so much joy to my life going to see your fights, and a thrill to talk to you today, man. Enjoy your stay in Vegas.
Hey, thank you, my brother. Glad to be on your show, and thank you for having Billy get me on here, though.
You got it.
I appreciate you guys.
I appreciate you. Roy Jones Jr., wow. That just made my day. Thanks to Billy Cancun. Banana Mezcal. The mezcal is fabulous. Wherever you are, ask for Banana. They'll know what it is, and you'll have it. You'll never try another mezcal. Appreciate that. Roy Jones Jr., I was at that fight at the Thomas and Mack. What was great about Roy, I always thought that fighters, Clay, had to go be undefeated.
Yeah.
50-0, 45-0. No, Roy was fighting everybody. So he would fight everybody. So if he lost a fight, and I'm looking at the track record of some of his losses, Anthony Pettis that he lost to. And then I start looking. He lost 3 fights in a row at one point to Bernard Hopkins, which was one of them there too. And the other losses here to Glenn Johnson, Antonio Tarver, who was really good, the fights to Tarver. But he went right back and went on that run again, lost to Montel Griffin, but he fought so frequently and so awesome. And whenever you went to a Roy Jones fight, the building was electric because of what he said. He wanted to put on a show.
No, he always did. He always made sure that was electrifying in nature. And at the same time, you started to see this as the last 25 years, this country stopped putting its best athletes into boxing. They were fighting, but they're going into a different discipline. And I would love to see what Roy could do if he comes back to Las Vegas and starts building up a promotion again to consider making this not only the fight capital, but the boxing capital of the world, because that's what I miss the most.
Really sharp. I'm going to look at this differently now going forward after that interview with Roy about sex trafficking, which is a huge topic, right? Sex trafficking, especially here in Vegas. And the fact that I don't have a lot of respect for these Logan Paul fights. I don't watch them, but he made a good point. He might have helped change my mind. He said, no, that those fights help raise money. So those guys are making that money. They could use that money and put it towards their cause. And he talked about Logan Paul and sex trafficking, and that could change my mind. You could evolve on that topic when you hear someone like Roy Jones Jr. Hope you enjoyed that. That's the type of radio show I like to do. I don't want to sit here and talk about a coach that hasn't been hired. I don't want to guess about coaches. I want to talk sports. Everything that happens in sports, I want to talk about it. And it was nice that we could talk to Roy Jones Jr. So to get back to what you want to talk about, some of the Mendoza sound, because we're going to play Rod Woodson and I yesterday. We were in my son's office yesterday. We did the Rod Pod, as we call it Lay in the Wood. And Rod had a lot to say about Mendoza. I want to play the Dan Patrick here, Clay. Dan Patrick from the Dan Patrick Show was riffing about Mendoza. I think he had a guest on, and here's what he said.
Ben Roethlisberger has a podcast, Football It, with Ben Roethlisberger. And he was asked about what the Steelers should do at quarterback.
I would not draft a quarterback for at least 2 to 3 years. That's just my opinion. The issue that I see with a lot of teams is they get a quarterback and they try and build around that quarterback. I think it should be the other way around. I think you should build a team and put your quarterback in it. It happened to me. I had a great football team. They plugged me in. We had a veteran group. It works. It works better than trying to grab a quarterback and be, okay, we're going to build around this quarterback, because then it's going to take you 4 or 5 years to build around that quarterback. He's probably going to look like poo up to it. And then you're like, is he really our guy? Is he not our guy?
All right. So let's look at this on a bigger picture here. If the Steelers want Ty Simpson, or they want to get somebody in the second or third round. Okay. But I understand what he's saying, because I'm going to apply this to the Raiders. The Raiders have a bad team. They have a terrible offensive line, one of the worst in the NFL. Yes, they'll try to improve upon that in the offseason. But you're going to draft Fernando Mendoza, number 1. And you're going to ask him to go in there and be great, or be good, or very good. And it won't happen overnight. It won't happen in that first year. Now, you do have Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty. Okay. But I don't have an offensive line. And I always go back to Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck was generational. He was going to be the next John Elway. Can't miss until you go to an organization that got him but didn't improve their offensive line, until they did improve their offensive line, and Andrew Luck was done playing. He was tired of being beat up.
All right, so that's a portion of that. We have part 2 coming up here in a little bit. So Ben Roethlisberger and Dan Patrick believe that the Raiders shouldn't take Fernando Mendoza. Now, my pushback on that would be, and look, Ben Roethlisberger's opinion really matters. The Raiders have a chance to have the 1 pick. They're not going to get the number 1 pick again. They're not. They almost didn't get it now. You were yelling at me because I don't want to tank every game. Sorry, I don't want to lose. And they had the perfect storm. They lost a lot, and they get the number 1 pick. And they get a pick who could be unique. He could be glamorizing to this organization, and he could be very good. Again, I'm not saying he's going to be Andrew Luck or John Elway, but he better be better than Kirk Cousins. He better be better than Geno Smith. He's got to be better. He's going number 1 to the Raiders. Number 1. He better be better than Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins didn't go number 1. Bo Nix didn't go number 1. He's got to be better than Michael Penix. He didn't go number 1. Now, Jaden Daniels could have went number 1. Caleb Williams came out. Right? Drake May could have went number 1. Caleb Williams came out. I think the comp is Drake May. Drake May this year was an MVP candidate. I don't think Mendoza is going to be an MVP candidate his first 2 years in the league, but I didn't think Drake May would be, and he is. So that's where I think the comparison has to be. But for those people like, don't draft him, then what do you want the Raiders to do? What do you want the Raiders to do? Draft someone like with the 4th pick overall and get Clelin Ferrell? You want Clelin Ferrell again? Turned out to be a decent player in the league. He's still playing. No. We got a chance to have a game-changing quarterback in Las Vegas. We haven't been able to do it. We've had Jimmy Garoppolo, Aiden O'Connell, who I like, Derek Carr, Gardner Minshew. Is anybody other than me paying attention to who we've had at quarterback? They give me a quarterback. I do the pregame, the postgame show, the coaches interview, a couple of podcasts, the TV show. I want them all to win. You never see me sit on a set going, hey, man, this quarterback, he's a bum. He can't play. Geno Smith. No, Geno Smith was here for the right reason. Geno was brought in because of 4,300 yards, 4,300 yards, 70% on a winning team in Seattle. He failed. It didn't work. Josh McDaniels came in. Look what he's doing in New England. Not a good play caller, an elite play caller. He came to Vegas. He chose Jimmy Garoppolo, who was injured. He failed. So I know the storylines of all these guys. Jim Plunkett was damaged goods. Al Davis said, I need you to rest. I'm going to park you to rest. I'm going to need you someday. The rest with Dan Pastorini's history. Fernando Mendoza is meant to be the quarterback of the Raiders. It's now. This is the time the stars have aligned, coming off a god-awful season, terrible season where pretty much nothing good came out of it. Bowers was injured. Geno played terribly. Colt Miller was injured. Max got injured and shut down at the end. Come on. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. It doesn't have to be that way again. Look at the Commanders from 4 wins to the NFC Championship game. Look at the Patriots, who the Raiders beat week 1 to the championship game. Look at Denver, who the Raiders beat 8 games in a row recently. They're in the championship game. Don't let anybody else tell you what the Raiders can't do. We're not saying Super Bowl here, but the Raiders can turn it around, and Mendoza can help. 702-365-9200. Shields Up is in Connecticut today. What's happening?
Hey, JT, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good here. All due respect, and the bottom line is this: they take Mendoza. Our offensive line competes away. I mentioned this before. You mentioned this yesterday, and everything else. We get a free agent center and a decent right tackle over Glaze. End of story. Bottom line, they don't know what they're talking about. Mendoza all the way. Thank you very much.
I think it's Mendoza all the way, unless a ridiculously crazy, nuts offer comes along, which I don't see. Right, Clay? I don't see it. We talked about the 4 first-round picks, how many picks you can trade for a player. Whatever it is, whatever the crazy train, right, crazy train comes by and offers John Spytek, then I could listen to that, but I wouldn't do the deal.
Yeah, I mean, you almost need like the combine to come out and somebody has a superlative effort, so you build a market for that number 1 pick where somebody feels like, hey, we have to strike the irons hot with this particular guy. We need that pick, and I don't know if that's ever going to happen.
My conversation with Rod Woodson, we call it the Rod Pod. Man, I'm so proud of my son who's in the chat. He's there now. You want to talk about being a proud dad? My son's got a cool job, and he produces this Rod Woodson podcast that I do in his office. And I sit down with Rod Woodson every week. Oh, my God. He is just insanely good at just analyzing football, like at that level. I try to just get out of the way. I just try to give little opinions, but I just set Rod up the whole time. And he talked about Mendoza, and he is not on the Mendoza train. He doesn't hate Mendoza. He doesn't think he's a bad kid, but very similar to others, he thinks the Raiders should get their house in order before they get Mendoza. I disagree. Get Mendoza while you're getting your house in order. That's what I want to talk about. Finley Volvo, Las Vegas. Mike is waiting for you. What a showroom, man. Had a cup of coffee in that showroom and looking at all these unbelievable hybrid EV cars. You get inside of it, the leather, the stereo, the safety. The safety is critical. Right on the 215 off Rainbow, right across from UFC headquarters. You can't miss it. Finley Volvo, Las Vegas. It's a nice little show today, man. I appreciate you tuning in. You get a little Roy Jones Jr. You get some Mendoza criticism. We got to have a little Mendoza criticism here, right? Got to have a little bit. You just can't have me being a fanboy for Mendoza every day. I'm 60. Remember Mike Gundy said, I'm 40. Mendoza's the age of my sons. I'm no fanboy.
We got the second part of that DP.
Yeah.
I think you like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll throw to it. Okay.
Friend's house watching.
It's called the Yeti microphone. And I put it up against a headset here because we do not have the technology here yet to plug in the show to our radio studio, which is really what makes us raw. You know, a lot of other shows at other stations have their radio show and their webcast connected. We don't have it connected. I don't know why. I don't know what it's going to take to do that, but hopefully we do.
Spence, I'd like to help you get your life back. Whether you're a top
Would you take 4 number 1 picks for number 1? 4 number 1 picks for number 1? It depends where those picks are, right? You know, if those picks are 27 or 26, no. If the picks are inside the top 3, I'd look at it, but I'm into Mendoza. I don't need to get, I'm into Mendoza. I think Mendoza's the pick. That's what I think.
Rain goes directly to our local waterways, which can pollute Nevada's lakes.
Can you imagine blasting Fernando by ABBA in the black hole if Mendoza was picked by the Raiders? Yeah, that'd be fun.
Here's some waterway wisdom so you can help do your part this winter. Secure your trash and bins. Live fertilizers.
A nice crew in here today, man. Look at this.
Dogs poop.
Look at that.
Discarding. Safely.
All right, look at that. Right? Bricklayers. Bricklayers.
Our storm drains. It's waterway wisdom. And remember, only rain should go into the storm drain. Join us in preserving Nevada's waters for future generations by visiting loveemptywaters.com and following us on social media.
Yeah, I don't want the second pick because you can't get a quarterback with the second pick. That's why I want Mendoza. He's going number 1, period. I want the pick. I want the quarterback. And if Geno played really well, like he was supposed to, if Geno played really well, we wouldn't be in this predicament. We wouldn't have the number 1 pick. Wouldn't have a pick. Do I think the Raiders have a plan, Stephen Price? Of course they have a plan. If Tom Brady consulting as an owner and making these decisions, yeah, they have a plan. How long's this second, Dan Patrick?
2 minutes.
2 minutes, cool. And Robert in Portland? Yeah. I'll get to the Dan Patrick and then we'll go to Robert. So my wife reminded me today's the day I got the phone call to be hired from the Raiders. John Gruden got hired on this day. John Gruden got hired 1998. Later that evening, I got a call from Bruce Allen, the GM at the time, and he said, get ready. We want to bring you in. And I started in August. I didn't know exactly when I started, but my wife told me because we got married in 99. And, I was living in the Bay Area as I was engaged.
What? Thanks a lot.
Yeah, you can spin 4 picks into getting offensive linemen, but we don't know if the offensive lineman's going to be good. What happens if one of the draft offensive linemen turn out to be Alex Leatherwood? What happens if we don't get a good offensive lineman and we don't get Mendoza? I know what I'm going to get with Mendoza. I know I'm going to get a really big character guy, a nerdy character guy. Excuse me. And I like that. And a guy that you can build around.
Catch every play from every game on our massive 143-foot screen. When it comes to watching football all season long, nowhere even comes close. Grab your spot at Stadium Swim today at circalasvegas.com.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by the DeCasta Verde Law Group. If you get injured in an accident, call 702-222-9999.
So coming off the edge, Bay steps into it, takes a shot downfield, and it's caught for the touchdown, Keisha Booty. Wow. Pretty amazing job. Great throw, outstanding catch by Keisha Booty. That's some of the things that we've seen from him throughout this season and what has been a breakout year.
Patriots Radio on the call. JT back with you. Thanks for joining us. Hope you have a great weekend. And I hope your weekend is tremendous and you have Grimaldi's. I got to remind everybody, we're doing a remote at Grimaldi's coming up here. Details coming. So we're hooking up with Grimaldi's again for a pizza party. I'll tell you where the location is in Vegas. Please come. The best pizza I've ever had. They're a proud partner of ours. I love Grimaldi's. My dad, who's 87 years old in Naples, Florida, still still talks about Grimaldi's every time I see him. He loves Grimaldi's, and he grew up in New York eating pizza. Grimaldi's, 4 locations, the best pizza I've ever had. And we'll let you know about the remote coming up here shortly. Let me get to Robert in Portland before we play this down. Robert, what's happening?
Great interview with Roy. I always wanted to see Hagler play Jones. That would have been a good one. A lefty against one of the great writers. That would have been a fight. Anyway, hey, I think that Rod Woodson's onto something, but he's forgetting the main fact. May's not the best quarterback. Nix is not the best quarterback. But when you can spread your money and start solving the other positions, like, New England drafted Campbell for their right tackle. It's going to be their left tackle eventually. But the point is, if you have that extra money for 4 to 5 years that you don't normally have, you can definitely build your team quicker and solve the dilemma that the Raiders are in right now.
Oh, yeah, I agree. But look, you agree with me, Robert, and you always call in on all the shows, and you're very astute with this team. Do you believe that they are going to get 2 brand new offensive linemen in free agency?
Well, I looked at the free agents that are available. I think it's going to have to be a trade to get a really, really big solution, because the guys that are available in this year's free agency class, I don't know if they're a solution. Maybe at guard, there's 2 guys at guard that look pretty good. But at center, I'm worried about that center, and you're definitely right. They need to get a center because, let's face it, I think JJ, he's a guard. He's a pulling guard that, these guys have identified, even including Pete Carroll. He's going to be a solution, but he just has to stay healthy. But I'm worried that they can't get the right guys through free agency. So if in the second round they have, a guy that they have their eye on that's playing, and it's coming out this year, they should get that guy. And but they definitely have to solve this offensive line issue. As you know, I've been on that forever. Because I enjoyed the Raiders a whole lot back to when, in 16, when if Carr hadn't got hurt, they would have been in the Super Bowl. You and I both know that.
Yeah.
But the point is, I think getting this kid at number 1, it'll open up the war chest to solve a lot of these positions that they've had difficulty with. Cornerback's another one.
Yeah.
But you just have to have the money.
They have the money. Appreciate the call. Excellent. And I'm building the list of offensive linemen. Everybody says Tyler Linderbaum of the Ravens is the best center available by far as a free agent to go out and possibly make a move to get him. And then as I look at the top 100 free agents, there's only 4 or 5 in the top 50 on the offensive line. And there's a couple of good players here, and we'll start building that list with you and going forward. But they have to, and if it's going to be a trade, Vera Tucker, if you look at some of the players that we're looking at that comes off injuries, guards, tackles, they're going to have to thread the needle. But Robert made a really good point about making a trade. Making a trade, I have no problem with. But what are you going to give up? You have to give up a good draft pick for a trade. Not our first overall. Hopefully not our first pick in the second round, but you might have to give up a couple of players or a couple of good picks to get the player you want. That hour flew by. We got a lot of cool sound coming up of Mendoza from today. You got to hear it. If you're a Mendoza guy, stick around. That's coming up next.
The NFL Conference Championship Games.
All right. We're going to go about another 20 minutes, everybody. We're going to go about another 20.
Okay, Mike, you're next. Stay right there, okay? Bye-bye.
Hey, what's up? Stu Myers. It's playoff time, and I'll be broadcasting live from 7s every Friday through the big game weekend. I'll be giving away free prizes, and you can enjoy $3 beers and $3 shots. Silver Sevens, my spot. Silver Sevens Hotel and Casino on Flamingo in Paradise.
This is JT the Brick from Raider Nation Radio for M-Ride, the preferred shuttle provider of Allegiant Stadium. Ride like a pro, round trip to your favorite events at Allegiant Stadium. No more hassle parking, sitting in traffic, waiting long taxi or rideshare lines. M-Ride it, and you'll get in and out quickly. Go to mride.com to book your ride today. Use promo code BRICK for 10% off. That's mride.com, promo code BRICK.
Open a Clark County Credit Union high-yield bonus checking account and earn one of the highest rates available just for using your checking account. Plus, bonus checking offers peace of mind, unrivaled security, and smart savings. There are so many benefits to banking at CCCU. Isn't it about time you became a member? Open a bonus checking account today and start earning more interest. Because if somebody's making money off your checking account, shouldn't it be you? Funds privately insured by American Share Insurance.
Hey, Jeff, how's the new job working out?
Really sucks. Terrible boss and the paycheck is even worse. I gotta get a new job.
Truck you.
Wait, what?
Truck you.
You don't have to curse at me.
Dude, you should check out Truck You CDL training. My brother got his CDL license in 4 weeks and now he has a new career making great money.
Okay, I'm listening.
Truck You offers small classes with night and weekend times available. They will even help with payment programs. Check them out. Truck, the letter U, LV.com. Truck You.
Australia's biggest sport hits Vegas. Rugby League Las Vegas, Saturday, February 28th at Allegiant Stadium. 3 games, Aussie vibes, 1 epic stint. Plug in your seat now at nrl.com/Vegas. Rugby League Las Vegas. Let's go.
Modelo is an official cerveza of the Las Vegas Raiders and the JT.
What's up, chat? What's going on in the chat? Everybody good? Kenny Clark. David what is that? La Cia. Snow Raider. I'm going to Smith and Walensky tonight. Friend in town. He's a big steak guy. Smith and Walensky. Man, they make a great steak, but I don't think I want a big steak tonight. What do you get in a steakhouse if you don't get steak? It's a good topic.
So, history, Saturday nights, I feel like I was meant to be a Raider.
Some guys trying to call in.
Okay, we got Mike Manhattan.
Yep. Okay, good.
And you can further the second president.
Yeah.
Fan base. Fun, a lot of clear feet, a lot of great time.
It's going to be all about competition, and there's going to be no easy games in our division. And here's JT the brand.
Final hour of the week, and I'm done. I'm gone. We're here next week, and then the week after that, I'm here on Monday, and then Tuesday through Friday from Radio Row, the San Francisco Convention Center. Q Myers and I will be up there, and we'll knock out some Radio Row. It's my 30th Radio Row. I'm kind of proud of that. A lot of people have come and gone since I started in radio, and I'm still grinding up at Radio Row. And Radio Row is a grind. It is a grind. It's our Super Bowl for radio, and it's turned from Radio Row to Podcast Row. There's not as many radio stations as there used to be. A lot of radio stations aren't doing well. We work at one that does pretty good. A lot of radio stations are going out of business. A lot of networks are going out of business. You know, when I was at Radio Row maybe 10, 15 years ago, I don't want to say get off my lawn. It was never bigger. Never bigger. Now you got these hotshots that don't want to go to Radio Row. They're too cool. They're too cool to go to Radio Row. They're too cool. They're not going to do that. We go there because we're a business, and part of our business is Super Bowl coverage. And we're going up to Super Bowl 60 in Santa Clara. It's not in San Francisco. Stop showing video of the Golden Gate Bridge. It's not in San Francisco. The Super Bowl's in Santa Clara. Big difference there. And then I'll have more details coming up here, but I'm doing a big casino gig for the Super Bowl up there in Roanoke Park, Santa Rosa. I'll be there for the weekend of Super Bowl with some of the great legends to ever play. Marcus Allen, Rod Woodson, Charles Haley, 4-time Super Bowl champ Bill Romanowski. And we're going to be at the Grattan Casino up there, and I'm going to be there for a few days, kind of a side gig. And I'm excited about that. Chalk talks with these guys, and going to be fun. So details coming up on that. So that's going to be good. And then I'm going to get out of here. Raiders are going to hire a coach, and I'm going to go see my mom. I'm going to see my mom in Naples, Florida for some time. I'll take my wife somewhere to a beach without my machines, without my thumbs and machines logging in and decompress. It's been a long, long, long road since August, Raider preseason of last year. Been a long one. I get plenty of time off. I like to have some time off, but this is necessary because we got to gear up. There's not going to be much of an off season around here. Mikey in Staten, Italy. Oh, Mikey, man, I'm surprised you're not in Vegas this weekend, Mikey. There's a lot going on out here that I think you'd enjoy.
They're killing me.
JT, but let me first start off by saying Laying the Wood is one of the greatest podcasts ever. If you think you know football as a casual guy sitting on a couch that played high school football, when you hear a guy like Rod Woodson speak and how he sees the game, it's totally different than how we see a game. And JT, you have to give credence to him. If he's saying to you, and this is a Jet fan saying this to you, JT, if he's saying to you, the Raiders aren't that quarterback away, and if he's saying to you, and the way I took it from the podcast was that he's saying that you get Mendoza and then try to build out with him. Hey, quarterbacks get rules. Real good quarterbacks that could have good careers because they go to the worst team. You take these perfect examples. Sam Darnold was a disaster for the Jets. But then when the game pushed down for him, he was already gone. Geno Smith, a disaster for the Jets because he had nobody around him. And if Rob Woodson is saying to you, and this is my humble opinion, a guy that sees it in slow motion, a Hall of Famer, and he said, listen, we're not the one quarterback away. It doesn't matter if it's Peyton Manning or Joe Montana. If he's saying, hey, listen, you're holding all the things. There's 5 good quarterbacks next year. There's a couple of good quarterbacks and free agents. If you can get two or three more pieces.
But Mikey, hold on. Mikey, the reason the Raiders have the number 1 pick is we don't have a quarterback. We tried, Aiden O'Connell's okay, Geno's okay, didn't play well. And we're in a must time in the history of this franchise to get the best quarterback. Why overthink it?
Well, you see, I'm going to disagree with you, JT. I think your offensive line is so bad. I think your defensive back are laughable. And if you could plug those pieces in, then you come up with another thing, and then next year go all in to get your quarterback. We're getting those. Hey, I'm thinking that's what Rob Woodson. With me, listen, I'll give you my left arm to trade him and let the Jets. I think he's a can't-miss prospect. But what the Jets have that the Raiders don't have is an offensive line. I think that's what Rod Woodson is saying, which is an unbelievable thing. JT,
who are you betting on, Mikey? Who are you betting on? We need some plays here. You doing a 2-teamer, or you just going to pick one game and fire on it? Just give me a pick. Give me a bet.
So, hey, I'm firing in on both games. You get so I love the Patriots in Denver. To be a grind out game, they win it last second. So I'm gonna go money line on the Patriots, and then my best bet of the week is Seattle. Seattle just to win the game too. So I'm gonna go a parlay, money line Patriots, money line Seattle, and then I like the under in both games.
Thank you, Mikey. Look at that. A 2-team parlay, of course. Thanks for the call. Of course, a 2-teamer. Money line 2-teamer. Patriots and Seattle. I don't know what the odds are on a 2-team parlay of those two, but I think New England's going to win, and I think Seattle's going to win. And I think the Seattle game, you pick a team to win. I don't look at the spread, but I think Denver can cover that 4.5. Denver's tough. Denver's really good. Rod Woodson last night picked Denver to win. He liked the Rams in Denver. We couldn't have been more opposite. Gambling's hard. It's really hard to do. All right, we're going to pound through some really good sound coming up here if you're joining us. First hour, we had a legendary boxer, Roy Jones Jr. If you missed that, you can find it on my YouTube page right there, YouTube JT the Brick. Easy to find. So here's part 2 of what Dan Patrick had to say on his show about not picking Mendoza if you're the Raiders.
I don't know if Fernando Mendoza is a great quarterback. I think he's a great story. But I would not draft him number 1 if I'm the Raiders. If I'm the Raiders, I say to the Arizona Cardinals, hey, you interested? How about the Colts? If you don't want Danny Dimes, or maybe you do have Danny Dimes and you bring in Fernando Mendoza. Keep him in Indianapolis. But if I'm the Raiders, I need help. Why can't I trade down? How many GMs are fired or coaches fired because they passed on somebody? Usually you get fired because you went up and got somebody. You said we got to go all in on Trey Lance, although nobody got fired with that. Mitchell Trubisky, we're going to go up and get him. If I'm the Raiders, I trade it. I want to see what's out there. You don't have a coach yet. I mean, that's a tough situation for this kid to go into. He just officially declared for the NFL draft. And the Raiders, by all accounts, are going to take him. But I would not. And it might be one of those where, man, you passed up on a generational talent. I don't think he's a generational talent. I think he's a great kid to have as the face of your franchise. And maybe you can build around him. I mean, Indiana, let's not lose sight of this. Indiana had a great team. Great team. Balanced team. Both sides of the ball. His numbers weren't great, but he was great when he needed to be. Is that enough to pin your hopes on that guy with your team in that town? I wouldn't do it.
Wow. Dan Patrick. I respect Dan Patrick. I mean, he's the guy on the podium for most of his career interviewing Tom Brady at the Super Bowl. I mean, I respect Dan Patrick. I don't agree with him. And I'll blow up one thing he said. He goes, they don't have a coach. Well, they're going to have a coach. They're going to have a coach before they draft him. So what do you mean they don't have a coach? They will have a coach. They're going to hire a coach next week or the week after that. So they'll have a coach. And it'll probably be an offensive head coach for Fernando Mendoza. So that theory gets blown up. They don't have a coach. But Dan Patrick's making the point, like a lot of people are making about Mendoza. The team isn't good enough. Well, I hate to be Captain Obvious. The team isn't good enough. That's why we, the Raider Nation, got the number one pick. We got the number one pick because the team's not any good. But the team's got good players. Max Crosby, A.J. Cole. Yeah, he's a player. He's a Pro Bowler, right? They have Colton Miller when healthy. I'm assuming he's going to be 100% healthy. Brock Bowers, Ashton Genty. And I do believe that the Raiders, Clay, and I'm really going to live on this, and I'm going to live and die on this hill. And I might get taken out on this hill here, but I'm believing that the Raiders are going to get a number one wide receiver. Number one. And the rest of the guys from 2 to 5, I like. I like Trey Tucker. I like Jack Besh. Dante Thornton is more of a project here. When you look at the depth of the receiver position, from 2 to number 6 or 5, I'm good with the Raiders, but I do need a number one on top of this as I go shopping for the groceries.
There's many wide receivers out there that could jettison and be that number one. But right now you have enough guys that can fill the slot, can run the routes, and actually be complementary players to a number one. All you are is just missing that one guy. And those are not impossible to find, especially because they're very expensive. And right around salary cap time before free agency, there's going to be some cuts.
Yes, you're right about that. But again, I'm not in the Tyler Lockett business anymore. I'm not into let's bring in Tyler Lockett because he's friends with Pete. But on my chat here on YouTube, which is great, so people can give opinions here, and I look at them. Gotham City Raider, that's a cool name, said Brock Bowers is the number one. You're right. You're right. If Brock Bowers has 112 receptions or what, you're right. Bowers is our number one. Excellent point. So when I blew a gasket the other day about Michael Mayer, okay, I'm dying on the hill for Big Mike. If anybody knows Michael Mayer, I don't know where Mike is now, what he does now in the offseason. If anybody knows Michael Mayer, and we got 440 people in this chat, so one of you guys or gals knows Michael Mayer, you tell him that JT, the Brick, is going all in on him. He might not be here. I don't know. They might trade him. I don't know what's going to happen with him. We have got to decide how to get Michael Mayer 50 receptions. 50. Okay, this is a joke that we have Michael Mayer in the building and he's playing special teams. Guys lifting weights like an animal in the corner of the weight room, and we just don't have anybody who can get him the ball until Bowers gets hurt and guys are about to get fired and they're running like 8 targets to Michael Mayer. And everyone's like, wow, look at Michael Mayer. He caught the ball. Yeah, he was a Mackey Award winner at Notre Dame. He was pretty damn good. And we wait. Oh, let me hold that back. I don't want to get clipped. We have let Michael Mayer down in regards to his targets. We have let him down. If Mike Mayer played on another team, the New England Patriots, the Detroit Lions, they have a good tight end. Let's go to Cincinnati with Joe Burrow. if Mike Mayer played there, he'd have 60, 70 receptions. Why can't he have 50 in Las Vegas? Then that's 50 receptions on top of Brock's 100. So you're in the 150 to 160 range. Then you can throw in your Trey Tucker. You're going to get a new number one. You're going to get Jack Bash. We got to get Jack Bash some targets. And then the Raiders will be okay. Ashton Genty. Clay, how many receptions is Ashton Genty going to get? You know, the only reason why Ashton Genty is getting these awards, these offseason awards and nominations, it's not for his rushing yards. He got tattooed behind the line of scrimmage every time he touched the ball. He got tackled 2 yards deep. It's because, Clay, he can catch the ball in space, and we got to add his receptions to the overall math, don't we?
When you think of like 50 receptions, just compute it as 3 receptions a game. That's all we're asking for. And for Genty himself, that's part of his arsenal. For 17 games, 50 receptions is not a problem. For Michael Mayer, that should be like you said, 8 targets, 5 catches a game, standard.
Yeah, I really believe that. So I'm a math guy. I didn't take math in college. I'm the only guy in the history of society that never took math after high school. I never took a math class. My sons used to laugh at me. They're both in the chat. When they had math homework, I just point them out. I don't know how to do that math. I mean, I know how to balance a checkbook. I know how to make money. I know how to trade stocks. But I don't know anything about algebra, trigonometry. I don't know anything about that. But I'm very good at NFL math. How many plays do you run? Lincoln Kennedy, how many plays do you run? Okay, we got to run about 55 or 60, not 40. Not 40. Did you see the math last year for the Raiders on offense? It was putrid. We don't run enough plays, and we waste plays. Oh, my God, I could do 3 hours on this. How many times did we run it in the pile on 2nd and 9? How many? Someone could do this. How many times on 1st and 10 did someone in the 413 section, 413, go, handoff up the middle? Handoff up the middle. No gain. Then it's 2nd and 9. We try to run it again. Come on. Like, we're not going to do that anymore. I promise you we're not going to do that again. No one in their right mind is going to run anything that resembles the offense that we ran last year. Sorry, Pete Carroll. I think the world of Pete Carroll. He was the head coach. He should have not allowed that offense to be run. And a lot of people say that's why Chip got fired. That Chip wasn't allowed to run what he wanted to run. The exotics that he wanted to run there, maybe Pete wanted to run it too much. They're both gone. Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly are gone. I wish them both well. They were very good to me. Same thing I always say. But can we get somebody in here who can run an aggressive, fast-paced offense? Please? Please? Can we get someone in here who's going to do that? I mean, we got to do it. And I think it's going to happen. Okay. 702-365-9200. Let's play a little fun Mendoza, a shorter one. There's about 3 minutes of Mendoza from Jimmy Fallon. And I want you to hear this from the Tonight Show last night. This is trending all over social media, the quarterback, Mendoza.
What are you doing here? Jimmy, everybody knows that Tonight Show is where champions go. So here I am. That's right. Since you're here, I have to ask, how does it feel to win Indiana's first ever football championship? Well, we finally got our coach Ignited to smile. So that was the biggest accomplishment. No, but for real, Indiana's been predominantly a basketball, and football's been in purgatory for the longest time. And our team, with Coach Ignited and a whole bunch of under-recruited guys who have already been doubted their entire lives, now finally marked as national champions, it means the world to all. It's an exciting game. This is the most exciting game ever, and I remember I was watching it in the fourth quarter when you dove in for that touchdown. What were you thinking? First of all, look at this. Look at this. That's you. That's me. That is me. It's a good impression. Thank you. Were you like, no one's open, I got to do this? So it's a running play, and I'm a quarterback. I'm a passer. So at first I'm like, okay, here we go. And I'm supposed to run left. And all of a sudden, some instinct tells me, let's run right. So it's like when you miss your exit on maps and you're like, oh, shoot. Like, yeah. You're like, who? Oh, shoot, here we go. But luckily it was the exit to a touchdown. Yeah. And then like you said, legendary. And then like you said, I saw these huge football players in front of me, and I was like a human pinball machine. Yeah. I was like, boom, boom, bang, getting banged up, and all of a sudden, I'm in the air. I'm like, might as well reach for the touchdown because I'm so banged up. I don't know if I'll be able to get up after. So, yeah, here we go. And you got back. And we got back. Well, congratulations on a record-breaking season. And actually, since you're here, how about we break more records? Let's do it. All right, here we go. All right. All right, here's what we're going to do. Okay, I'm going to throw these records in the air. Okay, and you're going to throw footballs at them and see how many you can break in 30 seconds. All right. Okay, 30 seconds. It's like my combine? Yeah, no, you already got the job, bud. Don't worry about it. All right, let's break some records. 30 seconds on the clock. Okay, then I'll start throwing the records. Ready? Come on. Get set. Go.
All right, so there it is. Little Mendoza. I'm with Jimmy Fallon last night. He seems like a fine young man, as Tim McCarver used to say. That's a fine young man. He looks like a fine young man. Who wouldn't want Fernando Mendoza? 6 months ago, I knew who he was. I had no idea who he was. Now that we're getting to know him, it's been fantastic. And they're going to start taking him down. I told you that before anybody. They're going to start chipping away at him. Dan Patrick did it in a very respectful way, said he would not draft Mendoza. Very respectful. Coming up next, my conversation with Hall of Famer Rod Woodson from Lay in the Wood. I want you to hear this. It's good. Rod and I did a podcast last night, and the opening of it, we got into Mendoza and what the Hall of Famer thinks. Rod's one of the top 25 players to ever live. Not top 100. Rod's in the top 25. His stats are insane. He's a Super Bowl champion. Played for the Raiders, the Niners, the Ravens, and the Steelers. He's that good. Hear what Rod has to say coming up next on the Raiders, I believe, future quarterback. All right, I'm going to keep it here for the audio for this Lay in the Wood so you can hear it. And then I'm going to bail at the end of it. So we got about another 15 minutes left.
Answer, solution for somebody to help resurrect this team. Bring them back to the glory.
She would, yeah.
And I don't want to.
Charles came on with me not too long ago. I think we had Charles on during the season.
Now and next season, a lot of time.
And Dan Orlovsky is getting a lot of heat on ESPN. A lot of people are coming after Ryan Clark and Dan Orlovsky.
Tailgate weekdays at 7 a.m.
Boyd Gaming is the official and exclusive local casino partner for Las Vegas Raiders Stadium. Bring your friends, have some fun, but always bet on black. Visit their 10 casinos across the valley. Don't let the game get out of hand. Please bet responsibly. This is JT for the Black Hole, home to football's most notorious fans. The Black Hole Fan Store is now open Fridays and Sundays inside the world-famous Golden Nugget Resort Casino on Fremont Street. This isn't just a store. It's the official Black Hole Fan Store. One-of-a-kind apparel and merchandise created by the fans for the fans.
When Mac retires, what jersey does he wear? I think Mac will go down as a Charger. He was a great Raider. He wasn't here long enough. Played well with the Bears. I think he might have been a Bear longer than the Chargers, but I think of Khalil Mack as a Charger, unfortunately.
Tickets are $15 for kids.
Unfortunately, I do.
For adults. Drops at 7 at City.
Yeah, they don't do jerseys for Hall.
Lazy Dog Restaurant in Summerlin.
When you are injured, knowing that someone has your back changes everything.
Southern Paiute Nation. I golf at Paiute.
And pursuing justice for the injured. It's a long family heritage that we proudly carry on.
From our father to our family to the expert legal team at DeCastro Verde, we founded this firm for you.
Dan Orlovsky is a Mossad double agent.
BrothersWin.com.
This is John Barr, General Manager at Finley Toyota. Been thinking about getting a new truck? Now's the time. We've got huge incentives on the powerful Toyota Tundra and
Yeah, Patrick did it. Not everybody is Raider friendly. Rich Eisen is very pro Raiders. If you listen to Rich Eisen, he's very pro Raiders.
Toyota before they're gone.
Colin's got arguably the biggest show. He trashes the Raiders as much as he can, I think. Personal, the snarky stuff, which is okay. Look at me. I mean, I destroy the Chargers whenever I can.
Our new space
People have different opinions, man.
more service and more solutions, all designed for you and mine. Plus, you're hiring. If you're ready to grow with a company that values innovation.
Beautiful iPad. Look at that iPad. Raiders iPad. Look at that.
IT, your business better.
So IT. The Vegas Golden Knights are rolling through another epic season. There's nothing more refreshing than an ice-cold Surfside to enjoy while you cheer on your night to the ice. Surfside is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar, and 0 bubbles. That's right, no carbonation. So it's easy to sip and enjoy. It's not seltzer, it's Surfside, official partner of the Vegas Golden Knights. Sold in arena and at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Must be 21. Please drink responsibly. From birthdays to business meetings, or just because, Craze makes every moment delicious. Artful charcuterie boards, made fresh. Visit crazecraze.com. Celebrate everything. Call 702-605-6333. Craze Charcuterie.
When it's time for a new AC and heating unit, don't just call anyone. Call the boss. Maybe you have some plumbing projects around the house. Well, you need to call the boss. Boss Plumbing and HVAC is family owned and operated, serving Southern Nevada since 2015. There are no surprise costs or hourly rates. Get a totally free estimate with upfront pricing from AC Repairs.
All right, here we go. We're going to get to this Rod Woodson segment now.
AC and heater. Don't just call anyone. Call the boss. Boss Plumbing at HVAC.com.
Golden Circle Sports Bar inside Treasure Island Hotel and Casino is the best place to watch games on the Strip. There's a huge video wall and over 55 plus screens throughout the bar. Place your sports bets at the new STN Sportsbook. The menu with the Golden Circle Burger, the Linebacker Bison Burger, Philly Cheesesteak, Polish Sausage, and so much more is dynamite. Golden Circle Sports Bar's happy hour is amazing with $5 draft beers every day.
Clay, you're at Chickies and Pete's Sunday? No. Okay.
It's sold out. It's sold out this Sunday and Super Bowl Sunday.
Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, I'm going to have Romanowski. I'm going to be with Romanowski on Super Bowl Sunday. I'll get him on. Yeah.
Now don't get your Carmax out for
Seahawks radio coming back.
Go to give me the VIN. GiveTheVid.com. Put in your license plate, slam up, and have it on.
All right.
Back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by the Black Hole. Become a member of football's most notorious fans.
'Cause I'm dynamite. And I will not fight. I will lose. Watch me again.
On an end over end. Shaheed at his own 5, across the 10, 15, 20. Cut straight upfield. Has the gap. Across the 40. Shaheed to the end zone. Open the game with a 95-yard touchdown Seahawks.
All right, JT back with you. That is Seahawks Radio. They open up the game with a return. We are brought to you by Tommy White and the 872 laborers, building this city on time and on budget, thanks to the local 872. So last night I sat down with Hall of Famer Rod Woodson on the podcast Lay in the Wood, and we opened it up by getting to Mendoza, maybe going to the Raiders.
I got to get into some Mendoza mania. You went to Purdue. You're not an Indiana guy, but at least the Big Ten.
Go Big Ten.
The Big Ten.
Go Big Ten. IU can't say anything else.
3 years in a row for the Big Ten.
That's right.
How about that?
Everybody talks about the SEC and how dominant they are. They do have great athletes. They do. Big Ten. They show up. They show up when they have to show up. When you show up in the playoffs, in the college football playoffs, and you get to the championship, you hold the trophy. Those are the teams, and that's the conference that you want to say it should be one of the best conferences, which it is. Yeah. And I think they've proven
yeah, those guys down in the SEC are big and fast, but the Big Ten football is a good brand of football.
Absolutely. Now, as you know, if you don't know, we host from Las Vegas. Raiders have the number one pick in the draft. I'll never say anything's 100%, but it's 99% Mendoza. Number one pick to go to the Raiders. I think it's a done deal. I would hope it would be a done deal, but you never know. I'm all in on Mendoza because I saw him make every throw. I saw the grit. He got better after winning the Heisman Trophy. Better, which was great. He had the signature touchdown run. But you're not 1,000% or 100% sold on him.
I'm not. And I like this skill set. Can he be most of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL today can move, right? In some capacity. They can get in and out of the pocket, they can move around. And then, could he be the Tom Brady-ish 2.0? Maybe, if he keeps progressing in that manner. But I'm worried that he struggled in the championship game because he wasn't protected. And is he going to be protected with the Raiders? I know they got some money. I know they can get some guys in free agency, and maybe in the draft. But they're going to be young.
Yeah,
they're going to be the first year with them. Who's your receivers? Right? I mean, great receivers can help a young quarterback. Can he get in and out of the pocket? Can he step up into the pocket? I think the difference, like if you watch Matthew Stafford play, who is not a great athlete, but he's a good athlete, but he knows when to step up in the pocket, he has a good feel, when to get rid of the football. This young quarterback, can he progress in a positive manner while he's learning, while the team is trying to rebuild this culture? That's my question.
Yeah.
Or is he like Sam Darnold? Maybe he comes here and he doesn't work out the way he wants to work out, and he has to go to 2 more teams, and then he has to hit the reset button, and then he gets it.
But you liked his grit and toughness.
I
16-0, first quarterback ever to do that, and beat unbelievable talent along the way, and he showed his skill set.
Yeah, listen, I like all gritty quarterbacks. Guys who get hit and can get back up and keep on moving. I got much respect for that. My only question mark would be, can he do it in a landscape where these guys, this is the best of the best of the best in the world playing. All these guys are big, fast, strong. And can he keep learning and keep his head on the right manner and not find himself in a fishbowl where he's the weak link of the Raiders? And then sometimes guys can shrink with that, and some guys can blossom with that. Right. So it's yet to be seen. I'm just a little nervous for him being in that situation, hoping that he can overcome all the obstacles that can come with it, because he's going to be the number 1 overall pick, and every Raider around the country, around the world is saying, this is our savior. And then if he's not, he's going to hear it in week 10, right? Or week 8, if he's not playing the way they think he should play. And can he handle it?
Well, I'm going to push back on a couple things. First off, if you're the number 1 pick overall, you normally go to the worst team in the league. Yep. Even though you might not be the worst team, you have the worst record. There were 3 or 4 teams that won 4 games last year that went to the playoffs. So for the Raiders, they can't afford to mess this pick up. Yep. And the thing that I'm thinking about, I've been talking about, you got to take him, because if you trade out of that pick and you get a bunch of other picks and you don't draft those guys right, and you say you get 4 picks and 2 out of the 4 aren't good, then you lost out on Mendoza.
So my question would be, which is the more important pick, Mendoza or the head coach?
That's good.
Yeah. You get Mendoza and you get a terrible head coach and he brings in a bad staff. I don't care what he is. This kid's going to be thrown to the wolves. So it's first, you better get a solid head coach with a solid coach with coaching staff that can feed into him, but all the players and all the guys on your staff, all the players on the roster, that they can collectively learn together. Then the Raiders, the old Raiders that we know about and we love, that Raiders can come back. But if they don't get the head coach right, man, I don't care who they pick. It's going to be a long time for them to get back to the winning ways. I know they got Tom Brady. He got 7 rings. But you got to get the head coach right. You have to get him right. You can't tell me it's going to be Mendoza and whatever coach you give him, he's going to make them good. That's not true.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's going to be an offensive play caller. Great segue. The team you work with, the Baltimore Ravens, Jesse Minter.
Yeah.
You know a little bit about him. Tell me why you think this is a good fit for Baltimore.
First of all, he's been there, right? He coached under John, so he knows John's values, but he knows the whole organization, right? He knows Steve Busciotti and what he means and what his values are. So to bring him in, because I thought it was going to be either him or Anthony Weaver, two ex-guys who are in the building, both one played, one coached. So I thought it was going to be one of those two guys. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy that he understands the culture, he understands the building. Now you got to put a good staff together. You got to put a good staff together, because the only difference of like whatever staff is coming here to the Raiders and whatever staff is going to Baltimore has a standard that they want to happen. They want to see them play a certain way, and they have to have so many wins. Now, is Steve Busciotti going to have some patience with him? Yes, he will. Okay, he gave him a 5-year deal, so he'll give him some patience. But they're going to have to start winning quickly, and I think Steve Busciotti's that patience for Steve will wane if they go 7-10
with Lamar.
And 7-10 with Lamar and Derrick Henry back there, right? I think they need to add a couple more receivers. If they can do that, they need to add a defensive tackle, and they need to add some more speed, probably a linebacker.
Okay. Wow. Okay. I want to jump into another big topic. I think, just as a fan, Buffalo did Sean McDermott so dirty. That's the way I want to describe it. Terry Pegula had a press conference. I thought the press conference was a disaster with Brandon Beane. Disaster. They threw a player under the bus.
Yeah.
The owner's interrupting the GM who became the president.
Right.
So with all of that happening, I want to begin with, how do you fire a coach after an overtime loss on the road where the officiating was suspect? How do you fire
Was it a catch? Yes, Eric. I mean, it's a catch in one game and not a catch in another game. Interception in one game, not an interception in another game. And you fire him off of that? Now, I don't know if he fired him off of that, if they fired him off the last 15 seconds or 13 seconds against KC a couple of years ago, or the last 30 seconds of this past week's game where they came back and tried to move the ball down the field, which they had no timeouts. They took a knee, probably should have took a knee. I don't know when you make decisions that are emotionally ingrained into it, because he said, I came into the locker room and I saw all my guys distraught. Well, they're going to be distraught. They just lost a heartbreaking game. What do you think they're going to feel like in the locker room? They're going to be cheering and happy and glee? No, they're going to be distraught. So you got to remove yourself from that. Right. So to me, it felt like they had a plan already. Like they had this planned out. Like whatever happened because they seen John Harbaugh, right? They seen Mike Tomlin, and in their minds, it seemed like, hey, you know what? If we get rid of Sean, nobody's really going to say anything, because the other two coaches who are the most tenured coaches in the league, one in the postseason like us, they're gone too.
But you make a really good point. You've been in all these locker rooms after Super Bowl wins, after losses. The owner comes in, he sees the quarterback crying, not upset, crying. Different topic for a different podcast. Emotion.
Right.
Obviously, that's going to stay with the owner as he gets on that plane flight, and he's going home and he's sitting in the front seat going, what did I just see in the locker room? My quarterback's crying.
But was he crying because he fumbled the ball a couple times? He underthrew his guy and got intercepted at the end of the game? What was he crying for? Like, you don't know. So unless he asked them that question and he gave them some type of answer, that to me, you can't. And still, with that being said, you still need to leave the locker room with an open mind. Okay, which coach are you going to get this better than Josh? He went to playoffs every single year except one. He's been the head coach for the Buffalo Bills. And he has built that legacy back up of a solid program. And a new stadium getting ready to open up, and another coach gets to open it up. That to me, it just seems like it's a disservice to Sean McDermott, what he's done for the Buffalo Bills.